Alright, so I wanted to make a follow-up video to my previous uh, vlog about how Shadow Mordor is, uh, in my opinion, the best next-gen game because it expresses what next-gen can do more than any other game that's come out. Um, I wanted to make a follow-up mainly because, I kind of rambled on about certain things and, kind of building it up. Um, And so this is basically going to explain what the Nemesis system is and why it's so important. And also, I'm doing this because some of the reviews are coming out, and I understand people are going to, as people watch reviews, um, they're going to research more about this game and see like what it's all about. And I wanted to just give kind of like an in-depth video about what it is and like why it's important. Um, so this game has a system they call it the Nemesis system, in which you're put in an open world, and this system populates the world with different enemies, different orcs, um, and it might you might think that it's not that important that a lot of other games do this, but it does it in a way that makes generic canned enemies a thing of the past. Okay, so if you remember playing any open world game, whether it be GTA, the cops in GTA, the bad guys in Arkham Asylum or Arkham City, um, your targets in Assassin's Creed, any kind of third-person action game or any kind of game in general that has enemies uh, for you to just kill. What this does is it basically uh, lets you create your own story and kind of personal rivalry with these enemies. Um, in that they every encounter you have with an enemy, if he survives and you encounter him again, not only will he have dialogue specific to that last encounter that you had, but his appearance will change based on the battle that you had, right? So, and any enemy can go through this. It's not just the major people in the hierarchy. It's actually anyone, any grunt that can do this. If a grunt kills you, he'll get um, promoted to a captain, right? And then he'll get promoted because killing you in orc society is essentially the most uh, the best thing you can possibly do, because you're the most feared and renowned, you know, person in Mordor. And so killing you, obviously, they'll get recognized and they'll gain a reputation. So, you know, when I played the game, I noticed that this happened. And so a guy who kills you like a lowly grunt who's just like an archer named Orthog will just kill you, and then he'll be, promoted to captain, and now he has a title to go with his name. Orthog, you know, the powerful, Orthog you know, the bloody, or some crazy thing, and he'll get new armor as well as some sort of, new characteristics that go along with his personality and the way he prefers to battle, right? So, and he'll get a role in society too. Like, so he'll be, if he's a beast hunter, he'll have a strength against beast, and he won't really ever get killed by, um, any kind of animal in the game. Um, and things like that. So any orc in the game will get an appearance. Like, they'll start out with a base appearance of how they look. Then when they kill you, or when they battle you and survive, or when they battle each other, because they can actually battle each other. And Orc Society will move and evolve with or without your input. And and this is the thing that some of these reviews are touching on, but they're not really going in depth. And I really feel like this is what separates this game from any other game that's not only come out for this gen, but any game that's come out prior to this to date in gaming history. So this is why I think it's so significant. Is that their appearance will start out as a basic, orc, like, And not all orcs will be the same. There's like at least 20 or 30 different varieties of how they can look. But then when they battle you, they'll get new armor that looks different. They can get new armor, new war paint. They'll have different weapons. Um, they can have different scars. You know, based on if you shoot an arrow. I didn't do this, but the guy was explaining. If you shoot an arrow through an orc's eye and he survives that battle, he'll come back with a metal plate over half his face covering that eye because it's kind of so he'll kind of look like Big Boss, you know, and he'll tell you how like, oh, I lost an eye because of you or whatever, and that is something incredible. Not only that, but he'll get characteristics, weaknesses, and strengths, and also just different kind of traits that he has in battle. Like he'll be a fast runner, or he'll have, you know, a you know, he hates it when his war chief that he's serving, gets hurt, so he'll get enraged, and he'll have so it characteristics for an orc splits down in two levels. It goes weaknesses, three levels really. Weaknesses, hatred, which are kind of strengths, but they just call it hatred because orcs are hateful beings. And then just traits. So weaknesses is obviously, exactly what it sounds like. If someone's susceptible to arrows or burning, it'll let you know that, and then they'll be easily taken out via burning and arrows. Hatred for something like a Karagor, which is basically like a lion, like a giant lion that you can ride. If they have a hatred for something, like hatred for burning, or a hatred for feeling pain, they can even have a hatred for feeling pain. So if you slash him once and he survives because he's feeling pain, he hates it, and um, his hatred will engage. And what that means is whenever you trigger someone's hatred, their weaknesses cancel out. So if you trigger a hatred, and he has a weakness for burning, or he has a fear for burning, if you trigger a hatred and you try to burn him, it's not really going to do much because that hatred is kind of feeds off of like adrenaline and he won't feel it. So they become much tougher if you trigger the hatred. Then if you go into traits, they'll have many more traits than hatreds or fears. Um, and traits will be something that doesn't really serve as an advantage or disadvantage. It's more or less just his personality. So, like they can be a fast runner, or they won't give you a second chance. Second chance is basically kind of like a last stand in Call of Duty, where when your health is low enough, you'll be put in uh, last chance or second chance or whatever, and it'll be in slow motion, and you have to do a quick time event to escape it. And if you fail, you die. That happens with every enemy whenever you have low health. Some enemies have traits that negate that, so they won't really. So instead of saying putting you a second chance, you just die, and he gets an automatic kill and promotion or whatever. Um, and so and traits could vary from very different things. Like they can uh you know they can have different abilities based on like I said, if you're a fast runner, then it's hard for them to catch, and things like that. Um, and then they have things that surprise you, like they just things in their personality that aren't really listed. Like for instance, one time when I died, or when I was in second chance, instead of giving me a second chance, the guy just said, "You're not worth killing," and just walked away. And and you know, it's just kind of like, oh, like you're not even worth my blade or whatever. And so he just walks away. Like, what enemy in a game ever does that? That totally breaks what you thought was in a video game. Um, and gives them more personality. And that's the thing behind the Nemesis system is personality. Um, and memorability. I'm reading some of the reviews, and I'm seeing that they touch on it a little bit. Like they spend a paragraph on like how they had a whole rivalry between this one guy who kept killing them and kept on getting stronger, and 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 just once they killed him, like they felt like it wasn't the same anymore without them. It's kind of like Batman and Joker. They related it to Batman and Joker actually. Um, And that's the thing, like, and so that's what, those are the things that break up what an individual orc does, right? So you have traits, fears, and hatreds. And then hatreds cancel out fears if they're triggered, and then fears, obviously, they're kind of susceptible to certain things. And these things will be different for every orc, and based on society and past experiences, right? So you can already tell how deep this goes. Um, and then they'll have things like, how they look, battle scars from you, um, and then Orc Society as a whole will move around and evolve and shape, and take shape, regardless of whether you have input in it or not, right? So I love this aspect because I mean, I don't hate it, but like I like it when games show you that you're part of a world, but you're not the center of it. So Orc Society will kind of like, they'll have their, if you look at an individual orc, they'll have, those things that I mentioned before, but then they'll also have like motives, and they'll be on their own missions, and they'll have their own drive and ambitions, and all of these are also unique. And so if a captain wants to be a war chief, he'll try to challenge a war chief by himself, and then you can see that he does that, and you can actually go and witness that. You can trigger it as your own mission, and you can witness him try to take on a war chief, or you can see two miniature orc armies kind of take each other out or whatever, and you can intervene at your will, and do whatever you please. Like, you can either watch it happen, or you can, take out the winner and brand him to make him fight for yourself, or you can, just, let them, like, just take one side, do whatever you want. And branding is another thing that Orc Society has, right? So you can, as the player, you can brand an enemy to make him fight for your side. Okay, so as orcs are moving up this society and hierarchy, there are three levels. Okay, there are war chiefs at the top, captains, and then grunts. The grunts are just the populated, like, many people that just have a name. They don't have traits, or they don't have special armor or anything like that. They're just grunts, and they're very easy to kill. But if grunt kills you, he becomes promoted to captain. Um, and then war chiefs themselves at the top, um, they will have bodyguards, and the bodyguards, they'll be certain captains who are loyal to those war chiefs. So there are war chiefs and captains, and war chiefs will have bodyguards as their captains. And that's basically what will happen. And what you can do is you can brand certain enemies, and you can take over their mind to have them fight for you. So you can brand a bodyguard, and then when you go for their war chief that they're guarding, you can tell them to, flip the switch and, turn on them, and you can watch that play out. You can brand war chiefs to fight for you. So and there's no limit to how many orcs you can brand. The most surprising part is that if you brand a grunt in the middle of battle and then you die, there's a chance that that grunt can become a captain because he survived. He'll level up, become a captain. There's a chance of that, and then you can see him because you branded him. He'll be, um, uh, on the hierarchy as your unit, as your branded orc. So, those are the things that I wanted to, make sure that everybody understood. Um, you know, if you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll gladly respond in the comments. So, I'm really happy that this game is getting good reviews. I'm really glad that, it's a sleeper hit, and that it wasn't overhyped, because it surely wasn't on my radar until I played it. Um, but let me know if you have any questions or anything like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, see you later. I'll have more gameplay when I get the game on Tuesday. So.